Hi guys, so today we're going to talk about the infotainment of the Model 3. We'll get a bit into details. If you've watched the other video of the Model 3, you probably are watching us now. What we're going to do, we're going to go through most of the menu. We'll go through all the menus, but we'll not necessarily go into full details because we could spend like 2 hours on it, really. So let's start from the left all the way to the right. So the first thing you get there, if you click on the little car there, you've got a lot of adjustments. So the first screen you will see will be the quick controls. So you can do your exterior lights, your mirrors, your steering wheel, you can fold them. So you can do all that from here. Lock your windows in the back if you have children, and the brightness. So those are the very common ones that you might want to access. But then you've got all the other ones that appear here. So the lights, so again, you've got the exterior lights. Your rear fog light is there as well. By default it's on auto, so if you leave it on auto you don't have to go anywhere here, but you might want to adjust it manually. You can also set the dome lights, so there are 4 little LED lights above the front and the rear seats, so you can adjust that. You've got an auto high beam function that you can use. You can turn on or off here. Yeah, headlights after exit, if you want them to be turned on after you exit the vehicle or not. And the steering wheel lights as well. That would be on the controls, on the 2 buttons on the steering wheel. So next we have the locks. That would be here. So here you've got the cards. The car comes with 2 key cards, and then you can add as many phones as you want. So that's how you would lock the car. You can adjust the window lock, the child lock, of course, decide if the car will unlock on park. You also have notifications that you can put on your phone, depending on if you left the car doors or windows open. And you can even add for example, the car honking when you leave it, when you close it, when you leave it. Here you can also adjust the windows, so the windows can close when you walk away from the car. You can adjust the display, of course. Display auto, day and night if you want. Brightness, you can also have set a specific percentage or auto. You have a screen clean mode, which is pretty useful. So when you press that, the screen turns black, and then you can just clean it without touching any buttons. You can of course select the languages, so of the screen itself, but also of the voice recognition and the navigation. Having traveled abroad, I recommend you not to put English if you travel to another country. Just put the local language, actually. That teaches you a language, and also it allows the machine to pronounce the streets in the correct way. Region, so that would be Ireland for here. You can select as well the time, so if you prefer the time in American format, whatever, 12 hours or 24 hours, makes more sense, right? You can show here on the top right if you want to see your gauge in kilometers or in percentage. Unfortunately, we cannot get both at the same time. It should be easy, but that would be ideal. Kilometers of miles if you have nostalgia of the imperial system. Temperature, well, Celsius or Fahrenheit, and tire pressure as well in bar or PSIs. So that would be the display. Let's move to the driving. So driving modes, it's not really modes that we have here, it's just like several adjustments. So we've got chill or standard acceleration. So chill is like an eco mode in other cars, we'll call it an eco mode. So you cannot get the full performance of the car, and standard is everything you can. So standard is good, I like it. Steering mode. Comfort, standard, or sport. Sport would be the heaviest mode, and comfort the easiest to turn around to. Then we have regenerative braking, either low or standard. Standard regenerative braking on the Model 3 allows 1 pedal driving, so most people would use that. This is great. especially if you combine that with the hold stopping mode. So when you go to a complete stop without using the brakes, so the car will put itself on hold automatically. So whether it's flat or not flat, you'll see the little H showing there, and so that's the auto hold button. But you can also roll like a normal automatic car, or even creep, which is like it really moves more. There's even a slip start if you're stuck in snow or sand or mud or something like this, and the trailer mode that appears here because this car has a trailer function. We'll show you that in another video. Next is the Autopilot. So this car has regular Autopilot. Of course, if you have full self-driving, you've got extra functions, such as the lane change. That would be the most interesting function probably. By default, you have auto steer, so it centers the car between the lines, and you've got adaptive cruise control. So the cameras are watching what's in front and adapting the speed depending on the car in front of you and depending on the speed that you've set in the machine. So you can set the speed here as a speed limit, so whenever you engage it, it will set the speed of the speed limit. So based on what the camera has read, the last sign it has read, so maybe 80 kilometers an hour, you select that, it puts the speed limit. Or the current speed. So maybe you want to set your speed as a current speed. So you might be driving 65 in the 80 zone, so then it will put 65. If you set the speed as the speed limit, you can also select an offset, which is great because the speed is not necessarily the GPS speed, so you might want to drive a few kilometers an hour faster than the speed limit. So you can offset it as a fixed, so how many kilometers an hour more than the speed limit, or as a percentage, for example 3%, because usually the difference between the speed showed on the car and the GPS speed would go bigger and bigger with the speed. Then we have the speed limit warning. So I've got it off. I don't know if it's good, right? But I've got the speed limit warning on. But you can have a display or a little chime if you are going too fast. And as I say, you can set it up. Forward collision warning. So this car is really good. The cameras are really monitoring the traffic all the time, and it sees if there is danger coming. So I've got it on early. It might be a bit too much sometimes because but it really shows that the car is looking after you, and for me it's a really good thing to have. It's really reassuring, and you know that it will take action if necessary. Lane departure avoidance, that's the same. So you can have either a warning when you hit the line, or an assist, so it will send you back into the center of the lane. And then you've got a few extra options: emergency lane departure avoidance, blind spot collision warning chime, automatic emergency braking, obstacle aware acceleration. So those are actually quite elaborated functions. So Tesla is really superior to the other ones, the other manufacturers on those elements. But most of the other manufacturers, they have some or most of those functions, but they just don't necessarily let you adjust it. So the good thing is with the Tesla, you can really have it the way you want. Let's move to navigation now. So you can adjust the sound of the navigation, and you can have the several functions. So automatic navigation, so that would be automatically navigate to homework or your next calendar event location when you enter the car. So it proposes you to just go directly. You've got a pop-up that shows what the next trip is. If you have the calendar, your Google Calendar set up with your car, of course. You've got a trip planner. This is really good because you have the superchargers on the map. So if you do a long distance trip, it will use the superchargers en route. Online routing. So of course this is using the real-time traffic. So this is using Google Maps data. So it could reroute if you can save, well, here I just said 2 minutes. So if there is a 2-minute savings, then it could reroute you to a better route. And you can avoid ferries or tolls. So this is really normal navigation system, but it is, again, this is good to really be able to set that separately if necessary. Next section is safety and security. So you can have mobile access, of course. You might want to use only the cards, that's your decision. Keyless driving as well. You can power off if you want, or set the speed limit. That's also something that could be done. If you really want a speed limit with your car, you can do that. The Sentry mode is one of the best features of the Model 3. So you can, you've got 4 cameras filming all the time what's happening, even when you're not driving. If you plug a hard drive, so SSD is best, so you can put it just below in the center console. It will record any event that happens. So if somebody gets too close to the car or touches the car, then it will record what's happening. So this is the only car that does that. You can use it all the time, and you can replay it afterwards. I'll show you that actually now. You can launch viewer here, and here you will have your all your events that's going to display. Okay, so this is it. And here on the menu you've got all the different events with the date and the location, and you can play it, and then you can see what happened. Somebody might be looking at your car a bit too close, but it's really good because if somebody, for example, reverse into you for any reason in a car park, then you've got those 4 cameras recording the event, and then you can reach out to the person if you need, because you would see the registration plate of the car. So just go to the guides. Let's go back to safety and security. Another thing of the Sentry mode is that you can exclude some locations, so home, work, or any favorite that you put in the sat nav. You can decide to exclude those. So you can have the Sentry mode all on the time, except at home, because maybe your car is in a garage and you don't need to film at that time. Why would you do that? The reason is that Sentry mode is actually using a lot of battery, probably around 500 watts. So that's not nothing. I used it myself because the car park where the car is it's a private car park, but there's other people going around. It's just it's shared, so I prefer to have it. I had a situation a few years ago where somebody reversed into me and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't find who it was, so I'm really glad that this function exists. But yes, it uses about 10% of the battery per day on the standard range, plus less, probably 8 or 7% per day in the other versions. So that's not nothing. So you might want to exclude work or home if you don't really need to film. It saves you energy. Another thing is with those cameras, so the dash cam itself, you can save the clips on honk. So whenever there is an event that you see and you want to manually record it, you can press the button on the top right here. There's a little round button, or you can honk, and so if there is an event you have to honk, it will record it anyway. So they will save it on your hard drive. You can also put a USB key You don't need a hard drive. So yeah, and so you've got another adjustment, so such an alarm or a pin to drive, for example. So you can select this function and you can set a 4-digit pin. So whenever you get into your car and you start driving, before you start driving, you will be asked for this pin. You can even put a pin on the glove box if you tend to lend the car to somebody and you want to hide stuff in the glove box. You can make sure the glove box cannot be open unless you have the pin. I didn't tell you that because to open the glove box, this is the button here on the bottom left of the screen. There is no handle on the glove box itself. You've got to use the screen to do that. You might think it's a bit an overkill, but you get used to it. You get used to have everything on the screen, so I wouldn't see it as a huge issue. You've got your command controls around the steering wheel, so you're fine with that. Below you've got service functions, so this I've never really used, so but basically you can have a few adjustments, and you also have an owner's manual in there. Finally, the software. So this is quite important. Software, the car can be updated. I'm not going to show you too much on this, but basically you get on the top right, when there is a software version available, you get a little yellow arrow. That means you can download via Wi-Fi an update, and then you can update the car. It happens maybe every month, every second month. You've got an option to do so, and it brings you new features. So that's the good thing about Tesla, is those cars have over-the-air updates. And for example, this screen as you see it now is different from last year. The whole interface has been changed a bit, and it will be changed again probably in another version next year. For example, this side of the screen where you can see the car while driving is a bit bigger than last year. Last year it was smaller, and you had more space for the map that you can see here. But that's the way Tesla does the updates. The bottom functions as well have changed over time. So that's the good thing about over-the-air updates. You've got the hardware there. It's a very powerful hardware, and then the software will change with the time. Let's go back to this for a moment. So we talked about the software. You've got the software version there available, and you've got your option, your mileage, and your VIN of course appears here. Let's close this now. On the right hand side of the screen you've got your car. So here we have the car is off, but you can open the trunk. It's currently open, as you can see. The car's doors in general, the 4 doors, and of course here the charging port. If I press the brake, it will just wake up the car, and you can see all those lights on the right hand side, the one that you have usually in front of your steering wheel on regular cars. And on the top right you've got PRND, so that would be your function. So here the car is not very happy because the door is open and there's a few passengers with no seatbelts on, but you've got the speed that appears here. I'm going to go back to parking. The speed appears here, and some more information here as well. You might have noticed that this car is actually the car that you have. So you see here the white seats, you see the alloys, you see the actual color of the car. It really depends on the car that you have. So that's pretty cool touch. Here you can see if people are seated, when you're driving, the pressure of the tires, and if you're here you've got all your stats. So you get actually a few trip meters. You've got the total odometer, and then you've got for me I've got a trip meter since I have the car, and I've got a few more a couple of more trip meters that I can reset as well. It will have since last charge and since last trip as well, so it's also possible. Now let's move to the other functions that we can access from the bottom. let's talk about the music. So here we've got the music. No device is connected at this very moment, but if you do, and if you have Spotify, for example, you can control Spotify here. But of course, if you have the premium connectivity, you can go here and you've got a few more functions here. And if you tap on Spotify, this is what you can see here now. And you have your preference. So this is a bit better. You can actually control everything from there, because if you want to go to a different playlist, and if you don't have the premium connectivity, you've got to do everything from your phone. So if you drive very often, it could be a good option to take. Anyway, another thing you have with premium connectivity is karaoke. So this is demo mode. I don't actually have premium connectivity, and just put it there so you're attracted to do it. But you've got, if you get a new one, you can test it for 30 days anyway, or maybe a year, depending on the version and when and what Tesla does, because they change their mind all the time, right? So this is funny. You can actually use that while driving. So if you have kids and they want to sing along, that's the great stuff. So of course you've got your radio and your phone Bluetooth. So this is, you have on all models. So all your, and a USB of course if you want. So all your music is in there. Here you've got the cameras. You have the side cameras and the rear camera. So here it shows the sky because the boot is open. But you can turn them on at any time. So that's unlike many other vehicles. If you're driving on a motorway, you can push that and you're going to see what's happening in the back on the side. I find it pretty cool if you have a trailer, because you can check that the trailer is still there, right? Next would be the wiper. By default is on auto. You actually don't need to get to the screen to activate the wipers, because it's kind of a safety thing. So you just have to push the button on the left-hand side stalk to activate the wipers. But by default, they will be on auto. But if you want to modify that, you can go here and modify it. Then here you've got a kind of sub-menu. So there's quite a lot of things. So you've got from the left to the right, from the right to the left, sorry. You've got the phone. Then you've got your calendar. So if you synchronize your calendar with the car, which I recommend, the camera, the same as I showed you before, the energy graph. So you've got actually a nice graph of your recent driving, 10, 25 or 50 last kilometers. And then it gives you at the end an average range or an instant range, depending on how well you've been driving. This is fun. This could be interesting. So this is general, and this is, if you do a trip, it will put it there as well. We're stopped, so it doesn't show anything. You've got the charging screen as well. So this comes automatically whenever you start charging the car, whether it's at home or on a public charger. But you can see here the level of charging. You can open the port, of course, and you can set the limits. It is quite important, because when you're at home, you don't want to charge at 100% with the oldest battery. The new battery technology allows 100% charging. Tesla doesn't mind you to do it, but they recommend to go between 50 and 90% max on a daily basis. So this is why we've got a little graph allowing you to do that. You can select done, and you can of course schedule the departure if you want. If you have a specific departure and you want preconditioning, you can also set off-peak charging. I have off-peak charging, so this is selected. For example, so in Ireland we've got it between midnight and 9 a.m. In summer, and winter that would be between 11 p.m. and 8 a.m. And so I schedule my car to start at midnight currently. So it will start charging on at that time. You can select the current here, the charge current. The great thing about it will remember the charge current that you've been using in a particular location. So if, for example, you go to see your family and they do not have a home charger, the car on the granny cable will charge at 10 amps, but maybe if you're not sure of the electric installation, you say, well, maybe I will charge only at 6 or at 8. You select that, and 2 months later, if you come back, it will remember that you selected that very charging level on that very location. So this is a really good feature. I think every EV should have that. So that's all about charging. You also know, actually, you have the supercharging thing. So this is my last charge at a supercharger. It will remember it and it will put the location where you've been charging last. For me, it was 2 months ago. Unfortunately, we haven't had the chance to travel much. And it will put the price, even if you have free supercharging kilometers, it will still put the price actually, so you know how much you've saved with your free kilometers. Next is the web. So you've got a web browser with a premium connectivity. Then we've got entertainment. So those are video games. Video games cannot be played while driving, of course. There are quite a few different video games and they are pretty cool. I mean, if you have children, they probably love it. But I like the Battle of Polytopia. Fallout Shelter is actually pretty good as well. Those are cool games, and you know, you can play while charging. The car charges so fast you don't really have much time, but you can start a game and get back to it a bit later. But this is great. This is great to have this. You've got theater as well if you have the premium connectivity, or you need the Wi-Fi. So that would be for something like YouTube, for example. You've got a few more options there. Toy box is all the typical Tesla fun stuff. So you've got, for example, the emissions testing mode, which is you know, a fart. Basically, you can just select a seat and have a fart. So, and the type of fart. So you can play with your passengers with that. But you have like the romance screen, so that would be the romance mode. That would play a fire. You've got a sketch pad if you want to write stuff. So there's a few pretty funny things. They are useless, but just fun. And this is why we like Tesla as well, right? You know, it's all this extra stuff that no one else is giving you. So we went through all those in the menu there. Oops. Then we have the climate. So you've got the heated seats there. So on the standard range, you have only the front heated seats, but you have as well the rear one if you have the long range or the performance. And then as for the climate control, this is here. So you've got your all your regular climate functions. So you can adjust the power there or put on auto if you need, of course. And then you can have the recycling there, AC, put it on and off. You can schedule it, of course, like any EV pretty much. That's where you want to have the air going, and you can actually manually here select where you want the flow going to, whether it's for the passenger or the driver. It's pretty cool. You also have some special modes. So you've got a dog mode. So dog mode is if you leave your pets in your car, just turn it off because it's a bit loud. If you leave your pet in your car when you're at a shop or something like this, it will put the air conditioning on, so your pet will be okay, and it will put a big message on the screen showing that to any bypasser that might see the dog and might want to break the window. So that's quite a cool feature. There is also a camp mode. So the camp mode is that's again it's a very hot day today. The air conditioning wants to kick in, right? The camp mode really is a heater air conditioning, but you use it by night. So if you want to sleep in your car, it will just run the heater in the background with everything else off. That's quite cool, right? But don't forget it, because if you turn off the car and go away, the air conditioning still runs. and I've made the mistake one day, so don't forget about that. All right, so let's turn this off for now. The last functions on the screen that you can see are the front demister and the rear defroster. These have quick accesses because, of course, if it's very fogged up in front, you want to have a very quick access to that. So it works like any other car. And here you've got the sound, of course, if you have music playing in the background. So that's pretty much it for the vehicle. The last thing that we have is the top. So at the top you've got the lock, if you want to lock or unlock the car. You've got the time, the temperature, your profile. That would be my name. You can have several profiles. You can save it, so it saves the seats and the steering wheel. So it will save your preferences depending on your profile, depending on your phone, because it recognizes this or that phone to be used. Then you've got the Sentry mode and the cameras, so you've got a quick access. You've got, of course, the phone, like any other phone. It says that if you have a good coverage or not. You've got the Wi-Fi phone as well. If you do connect for your over-the-air updates, the car requires Wi-Fi. So if you have a driveway and you're close enough to your modem, the car will get that. But if you don't, like me, you would have to put your phone as a hotspot, and then this is the way you will be able to upload an update and run it. The rest can be done from the phones. As I was saying, you don't have here the premium connectivity, so it's just the map from Google. If you get the premium connectivity, you will also get the satellite view, so it's pretty cool because you actually see the terrain. And if it's a forest, if there's a road, buildings, cities, so it's quite cool. And also it will show the traffic. So just like when you go in Google Maps, you've got those red and orange and yellow lines showing you how heavy is the traffic. Mind you, if you don't have this option, navigation will still consider the traffic. So it will do the same whether you have those lanes represented or not, those lines represented or not, sorry. But it will take account of that traffic either way. So even if you don't take the option, don't worry, just follow the instruction. It's exactly the same as if you were using Google Maps on your phone. And I think this is the best system. It is better than any other GPS system that is native in other manufacturers. You want something connected, and today Google is the best data source regarding traffic. So great stuff. It's really good. I forgot about that. The superchargers. If you click here, you can actually see not only the superchargers but all chargers. Not all chargers are showing, but they do show here. And here they do show the supercharger. You've got the power that they deliver, so it's written 130 kilowatt max. It really depends. So I've been in some at 150 and even 250, but not in Ireland, unfortunately. And you can calculate directly. You can tap on it and it will get you there. Apparently we can get from here in Mallow till did I put Bird Hill? I think I put Bird Hill, right? No, I didn't put Bird Hill. I put Junction 3 on the M8, so with 2% left. So the car will show you that, which is again quite cool. Balacula with 2% left, living right now and staying at 115 kilometers an hour. The car calculates everything for you. Again, this is really only Tesla that does that. Any other manufacturer should do that as well, and they will. It will just take some more time to get there, but that's something really cool. Another thing, if you get onto the supercharger, it will give you the price. If there are some idle fees, it will put as well, and the facilities that are there. Also, if there is a special code necessary to get into the supercharger, it will put it there. So in Ireland, they're all available 24/7, so they are fine. But if, for example, you're going to a place that is private, so in a hotel, for example, a hotel car park, maybe after hours, you need to enter a PIN code on a pad outside of the hotel, In this case, the code will be written on that very screen. So it's good to know because it happened to me. I didn't know it was there. So I learned the hard way, but it's there, just so you know about it. So that's about it for the infotainment. It was quite long. I think I need to drink some water now. I hope you liked it.